Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metaton speaking, and today we are going to visit the Wallace Collection together. The Wallace Collection is a breathtaking national museum in an historic townhouse in London. It belonged to Sir Richard Wallace, the son of the 4th Marquess of Hertford. However, it was bequeathed to the British nation by his widow, Lady Wallace, in 1897. Now, on this video we'll show you the footage I've made of the items, mostly armor, that stood out to me, but I strongly suggest you to go there and check the collection out, because you see, believe it or not, I don't usually frequent museums. I'm more of a library or ancient ruins kind of person. Therefore, when my friend Joel from Night Squire channel mentioned the idea of visiting the collection, I was a little daunted in the face of it. However, the collection, the Wallace Collection, is definitely worth it, even if you don't like museums. We will now have a combination of epic music and footage of the collection, full Metatron style, which will be followed by a discussion on some of the items of the collection that I find to be the most interesting, together with some information, basic information, on these elements of armor, such as weight, material, place of origin, style, etc. I'd like to begin with one of the most iconic helmets in the collection, the A69. As you can see, it's obviously a bassinet, and it's an Italian bassinet made in Milan, Italy, circa 1390-1410, and it's made of low carbon steel. When talking about the actual weight, the helmet is about 2 kilograms, adding 0.84 kilograms for the visor and adding another 1.24 kilograms for the oven tails, so basically having an overall weight of about 4 kilograms. I think it's a beautiful helmet. Although the bassinet is not really one of my favorite, but it's such an iconic late 14th century kind of helmet. This is the sort of helmets that were used during the Battle of Agincourt or Azincourt, and so it's very it reminds you of that era, and it's quite rare because for the majority of pieces in the collection we are talking about, when talking armor, 16th century, 17th century, so this is one of the few that actually date all the way back to the late 14th century. The helmet is interesting because, as you know, at the time these sort of bassinets had a few possible configurations for the visor, and this helmet we can see, since it has a hole basically in the front, in the middle here, which has been closed up with a rivet, we can see that the helmet in its original form had a clap visor, meaning one of those visors that they opened this way, whereas now the current configuration has side or lateral pivots, okay, the rivets on the sides. The second configuration now renders useless the original way. You can't have both a clap visor and a side opening visor. You got to choose, and the side opening visor was definitely the better technology of the time. Another element that I really liked is this Italian armor, circa 1560, I believe, and it's a very beautiful harness. And although these pieces, it's basically a combination of pieces belonging to different harnesses, but they all fit together beautifully because they all belong to a typical late 16th century Italian jousting armor, and it's characterized by a very sharp helmet. In fact, the whole armor, the partial armor, weighs about 15 kilograms, with the heaviest component being the helmet. Another item worth mentioning is the A55, this beautiful armor, the northern Italian style, about late 16th century, and it weighs about 16 kilograms, made from an unknown artist. The armor is made of a combination of steels and copper alloys. It's both etched and embossed. A49 is another one of these beautiful jousting armors, because as you can tell, I really like jousting armor. I love battlefield armor, but jousting armor for me takes the cake in terms of beauty, particularly from an aesthetic point of view. This suit of armor, as we said, it's German, but it's a jousting armor in the Italian style, late 16th century, maybe early 17th century. The armor is made of steel, copper alloy, and it has silk elements and linen elements. The armor weighs a good 33.47 kilograms, but the fact that the armor weighs a lot should not surprise us, because it is indeed jousting armor, meaning that it's armor to be used during a tournament, not during a battlefield. So mobility in this case can be sacrificed in part in order to gain extra protection for the combatants. A44 is another suit of armor that I'd like to show you now. I think it really deserves some attention. It's a melee German or melee tournament armor. In terms of sheer beauty, A30 definitely is one of the sets of armor that take the cake, as far as I'm concerned. It's again a partial armor attributed to Coleman Hellschmidt, early 16th century. The armor is made of steel, copper alloy, leather, gold, and it's etched, pierced, chiseled, gilded, and embossed. About 16 kilograms total weight. A very aesthetically sophisticated suit of armor. But the helmet that I particularly like is the A162, and it has an incredible amount of fluting. So if you like fluting, I think you are going to like this helmet. However, A163 is definitely my favorite helmet. It weighs about 3 kilograms, it's an Armet, and it's wonderful. I wish I could have that. For those of you who are into Dark Souls, then you're definitely going to enjoy the A22. Wallace Collection A22 is a suit of armor that very much resembles Dark Souls 3 type of armor. It's German in its construction, made of low to medium carbon steels, and it weighs about 19 kilograms. Now, so as I'm concerned, the best piece in the collection, Equestrian armor. Made in Germany circa 1480, although the gauntlets were made in a much later date. It's made of iron, low and medium carbon steels, leather, felt, canvas, wood and copper alloy, and it's fluted, pierced, chiseled, etched, punched, embossed and engraved. It weighs an overall 27 kilograms for the man's armor, 30 kilograms total for the horse armor or barding, and an extra 10 kilograms for mail. This is the A21, which in my opinion is the best piece in the entire collection. Now, to finish off, of course, I can't mention the Wallace collection without mentioning its curator, Dr. Capwell, Tobias Capwell. I own his book, Armour of the English Knight. It's a fantastic book, and apart from the fact that Dr. Capwell has a doctorate in basically in medieval armor, and literally he's a walking dictionary, a walking encyclopedia on armor. So if you are interested in medieval armor, you should definitely check out the Wallace collection and definitely get the book. And this book, to be honest, it's one of my favorite books in my collection. I've read not the entirety of the book because I'm very busy, but I'm almost halfway through. And the book is elegantly written, but it's also basically, the best way to say it is that the book is saturated with information and a lot of details on armor. The book has got loads of pictures. I've also got a little review of the book. You can find a link in the description below if you want to know more, and you will also find a link to where you can purchase the book. I wish to thank you for your time as always, noble ones, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content from the Metatron. I wish to thank all my Patreons for their monthly support and reassure you, Patreons, that I am producing specific and special content, videos and pictures for you Patreons, and in order to thank you for your monetary donations that support my channel and my work on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye. Basta.